Hi guys, welcome to the CATWay. So in this video, we are going to solve our daily set. Before we begin, do not forget to like, share and subscribe. So the question says that four machines A, B, C and D can produce four items E, F, G and H. The efficiency in units per hour of the machine for each product while working alone on that product is given in the table below. So how does the table read like? See, A can produce 75 units of E in 1 hour when it is only working on E. Similarly, A can produce 150 units of F when it is only working on F. C can produce 125 units of G when it is working alone in an hour. Okay. Similarly, D can produce 75 units of F in 1 hour if it is working alone on making F. So this is how the table reads like. Okay. So let's move towards the questions. So the first question says that if 5,000 units of each of E, F, G and H are required, then which machine will take the least time if used alone? Okay, so every product has to be made how many times? 5,000 times. Okay, every product has to be made 5,000 times. So how will you calculate? See, 5,000 units of E has to be done by A. Let's say when we are calculating it for A, so 5,000 units of E is to be produced, right? Now it has been given that 75 units are produced in 1 hour. So for producing 500 units, how many hours are required? 5,000 divided by 75. Similarly, when you will calculate it for E, it will be F, it will be 5,000 units are to be produced and 150 units per hour is being produced. Okay. G, 125, 5,000 units are to be produced. 5,000 units are to be produced and 125 units are produced every hour. And similarly for H, 5,000 units are to be produced. In 1 hour, it is producing 50 units. So this will give you individual data for the years, the number of hours taken by A to produce 5,000 units of E, F, G, and H. So what will be the value? 5 for E, how many hours will it take? It will take roughly about 66.66 hours. Okay. For 5,000 units of F, it will take how many hours? 33.33 hours. Okay. Similarly, for 5,000 units of G, it will take 5,000 by 125, that is 40 hours. And for H, it will take another 100 hours. So the total time taken by A is 240 hours. Okay. So this could be one way to calculate. If you do have to make your calculation easier while working with your hand, what you can do is take 5,000 common. Okay, take 5,000 common. This will be 1 by 75 plus 1 by 150 plus 1 by 125 plus 1 by 50. Okay, this will be there. Now what you will do is take 50, take 25 from the denominator as common. Okay, take 25 from the denominator. So 1 by 25 you will take common. What will you be left with is 5,000 into 1 by 25 into 1 by 3 plus 1 by 6 plus 1 by 5 plus 1 by 2. This is what you will be left with. Your 5,000 will get cancelled by 125 and you will have 200. Okay, so this is the calculation that you have to do now. Okay, so this is the calculation that you are required to do. Okay, so this is, if you are good with percentage and the fraction values, you know this is 33.33. 1 by 3 plus 1 by 6, it gives you a half value. Okay, then 1 by 5, it gives you another 0. Okay, it gives you another 0. Then the total is 2, 0.7, and then another half is being added. So another half is added, it will be 1.2. So 200 into 1.2 is what is required of you, that is 240 hours. Okay, so for A, it is 240 hours. Now let us calculate it for B. So this will be 5,000 by 125 by 75 by 100 and again by 100. Okay, so this is how you will be doing your calculations. All right. So let us see what will be the values that will be obtained here over here. So this will be 5,000 by 125. 1 by 25, 75, 100 and 100 is obtained. Okay, let us remove all this data. This is of no use. Let us just write the time taken by A. So A came out to be 240 hours. Okay, now what you will take as common is 25. Again you can take as common, and what you will be left with is 200 into 1 by 5 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4. This is what you are left with. And when you do the calculation, you will get that the total time is 206.67. So the total time taken by B is 206.67 hours. Okay. On the similar lines, when you have to calculate it for C, what will happen is that divide by 100, 125, 125 and 70. This is what you will be arriving at: 100, 125, 125 and 70. Take 25 common, what you will be left with 1 by 4, 1 by 5, 1 by 5, 1 by 3. This is what you are left with. And because 1 by 25 was common, so 5000 will get converted into 200. Because 5000 into 1 by 25 gives you a 200. So the total time that you will be taking is that, or machine C will be taking, is 196.67. Okay. So for C it is 196.67. Now let's calculate it for D. So what do we have when we are calculating it for D? It is 125, 75, 75 and 120. This is what we have. Okay. So this will be 125, 75, 75, 125. And again take 1 by 25 common. What you will be left is 200 into 1 by 5 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 5. This is what you are left with. When you do the calculation, you will get equal to 213.3. So for A 240, B 206.67, C 196.67, and D takes 213.33 hours. Now the question was, which machine will take the least amount of time if used alone? So that will be, the correct answer is option number A, that is machine C will be taking the least amount of time. So option number A is the right answer. Okay. Now let us remove all this data. All right. So what do we have now here is that, let's move to the second question. The second question says that if 1680 units of each of E, F, G and H are required, and each machine can produce only one item, and no two machines can work simultaneously. So one machine will produce only one item. Okay. How should the items be assigned to different machines so that the total time taken is met? Okay. So instead of doing the individual calculations for all the options, what I would suggest you is that go via observations. Okay. So what do you have for A? For A, the correct answer is either H or F. For A, the correct answer is either H or it is F. Now between H and F, A will take lesser number of time to produce which item? It will take lesser number of times to produce F or 60, because 1680 units are to be produced. Now if A is producing H, it is only producing 50 units in 1 hour. But if it is producing F, then it is producing 150 units per hour. So the correct possible option for A should be F, because if A is doing F, if A is producing F, it will take the least amount of time. Now the possibilities for B are that correct answer for B is either it is producing E or it is producing G. So between E and G, which for E, it can produce 125 units in 1 hour, and G, it can produce only 100 units per hour, right? It can produce only 100 units per hour. So which one will be the quicker way? If B produces E, it will take lesser number of time. So ideally B should be producing E. Okay. And if you check for A is producing F the fastest and B is producing E the fastest. Okay. So now let's move to the third, C. For C, the correct options are possible as G, E and H. G, E, H. Okay. So between G, E and H, if you see, C can produce the 1680 units in the least amount of time if it is producing G, because G, it can produce 125 units. So the possible correct answer for C should be G. And if you check, if you check for it, then A is producing F the best, okay, B is producing E the best, and C is producing G the best. Now the only option left is for D to take H. And now you can verify your answers. If you talk about E, it should ideally be produced by either B or D, which is B is producing that, so we are okay with that. If you talk about F, it should definitely be produced by A, so we are perfectly all right on that. If you talk about G, it should be either produced by A or C. Okay. But because A can produce F best, so we will give F to A, and because then the possible options for G were A and C, out of which A is producing F, so C has to produce G. So we are right on that part also. And talk about H, H should definitely be produced by D. So the correct option is A, F, B, E, C, G, and D, which we can, when you verify, you will see that option number C satisfies this. So A, F, B, E, C, G, and D. So the correct answer for the second question would be option number C. Now let's move towards the third question. So machine A and B can be operated only between 10 AM and 2 PM. So these two machines are only operated for 4 hours on a given day. Now it says that they have to produce equal number of units of each item. So equal number of units of each item is to be produced. That is, if machine A is producing 100 units, then 25, 25, 25, 25 units of each of E, F, G, and H should be produced by machine. So this is what the question is. Now it is asking that what is the ratio of maximum number of units that A and B can produce respectively. Okay. So now we do not know that how many units should A produce of each item. So what we will say is that for machine A, we are calculating first. Okay, for machine A, we will say that machine A should produce n units of each item. So if n units of each item is being produced, so if n units of E is being produced, 75 units in 1 hour, so the total time taken on E will be there. N divided by F ka 1 hour ka, unit is 150. So n number of units are being produced, 150 can be produced in an hour, so the total time A should spend on F will be there. Then n divided by 125 for G, and then n divided by 50 for H. And the total time taken to produce all these 4 items, n quantity of all these 4 items should be equal to 4. It cannot be anything. Okay, it has to be equal to 4. So how will you calculate? Take n common. What you will get is 1 by 75 plus 1 by 150 plus 1 by 125 plus 1 by 50 should be equal to 4. Take 21 by 25 common. What you get is n by 25 into 1 by 3 plus 1 by 6 plus 1 by it would be, what was it, 125. Okay, so 1 by 5 plus 1 by 2. So this is there, and it should be equal to 4. Okay, now what you will do, you know, we already calculated this value to be equal to 1.2, right? We already calculated this value to be 1.2 into 1.2. Okay, so let's calculate the value of n from here. So it will be 4 into 25 divided by 1. So from here, what do you get? That the value of n should be equal to 100 divided by 1.2, that is equal to 83.33. Now you also know that 0.33 of any item cannot be produced. Okay, it has to be an integer. So maximum it can produce is 83.33, but because it is not possible to produce any item in a fraction number or a decimal number, the maximum number of item of the maximum quantity of each item will be 83. Now, of one item, 83 quantity is being produced. So for 4 items, it will be 4n, that is 4 into 83, and 4 into 83 is equal to 332 items. So A in total will produce 332. Similarly, now we have to calculate it for B. So let's say B is producing m number of items. Okay, B is producing m number of items of each quantity. Okay. So for B, when you talk about, it will be for when it is doing E. So m units have to be produced. 125 is being produced every hour. So time will be spent on E will be equal to m by 125. Similarly, for F, it will be m by 75 the total time. It will be m by 100 the total time for G, and m by 100 the total time for H. So this is what we have, right? This is what we have. And again for B also, because it is also operating only for from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. the total time is 4. The total time is again 4. Okay, so let us take m will be common, or basically you can directly take, now you must have understood that you can take m by 25 common. Now when m by 25 is common, you will be left with 1 by 5 plus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 4. And this should be equal to 4. This is equal to 4. So what do we get from here? M by 25 into how much? See, this will be 0.2. Okay, these two are 0.25 and 0.25. So 0.25, 0.25, what do they make? 0.5. 0.5 plus 2, 0.7, and 0.7 plus 0.3333. Okay, 0.7 plus 0.3333 will give you what? 1.03. Okay, and this has to be equal to 4. Let's calculate the value of m. It will be 100 divided by 1.03. So the value of m that we get is equal to 96.77. Now again, it cannot produce any item in decimal quantity, right? So for every item, you have to take the integer lower than the value that you have received. So value of m will be 90. So for every type, every item, it will be producing 96. Now for one item, it is producing 96 units. So for all the 4 items, it will be producing how much? 4 into 96, that is 384 units. Now the maximum number of units A and B can produce, A can produce 332 units, B can produce 384 units. If you take the ratio, this is equal to 83 is to 96. So the correct answer for the third question is option number B, 83 is to 96. So hope this set is clear, guys. It was a the first 2 questions were quite easy, but the third question was a very good question, and hope you have understood the set well now. Thanks for watching the video.